If you're building appointment setting agents with Retell AI, this is the only video you need. If you're new here, I'm Mark. We build voice agents for companies around the world. If you want one for your business, book a call below. I also run one of the top communities for agency owners looking to add voice AI to their offerings and for beginners who want to learn voice AI from scratch and actually make money doing so. In this video, I'll show you how to book, cancel, reschedule with cal.com, handle time zones the right way, and avoid the mistakes most builders make. And if you stick around to the end of the video, I'll share my exact perfected prompt, a faster booking method that bypasses email, and a slick trick to auto-detect the caller's time zone. Let's get right into it.
Iron and Blade Barbershop. This is Chloe. How can I help you?
Hey, Chloe, I want to book a haircut for tomorrow at 3 p.m., please.
Let me check if Alex is available for a haircut tomorrow at 3 p.m. Alex is available for a haircut tomorrow, Wednesday, July 30th at 3 p.m. Can I get your full name? And is the number you're calling from the best one to reach you?
Yeah, the number I'm calling from is perfect, and my full name is Mark Tomlett.
Awesome. You're booked with Alex for a haircut on July 30th at 3 p.m. See you then at Iron and Blade.
Oh, wait, actually,
You're all set, Mark.
hang on a second. My wife just told me that I'm busy tomorrow. Can we do this Friday, but same time? Let's reschedule it.
Let me check if Alex is available this Friday at 3 p.m. for you. All set. Your appointment with Alex has been moved to this Friday, August 1st at 3 p.m. See you then at Iron and Blade.
Actually, hang on a second. I'm so sorry I've been the most difficult person today. Can we cancel my appointment on Friday? I changed my mind.
No worries at all. Can I get a quick reason for the cancellation, and is the number you're calling from the one you booked the appointment under?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
Thanks for confirming. Can you let me know a quick reason for the cancellation?
Yeah, I'm just like really sick all of a sudden.
No problem. That's been canceled. Hope you feel better soon. If you want to rebook, just let me know anytime.
All right, sounds good. Bye-bye. Now, this is an appointment setting agent for a barbershop, but the prompting principles here can be applied and abstracted to be used for any agent. First, I'll take you through the absolutes in this prompt, and then we'll get into the specifics of the book and check availability function, and from there, we'll move on. But look, let's check this out first. I use this probably in all my appointment setting agents, especially because I don't collect email in any of my appointment booking agents. Why? Well, it's terrible at collecting email. So what we do is we just bypass email altogether. I have a prompt here that just says, never ask the user for an email address. Just silently book every appointment using techtomlet@gmail.com. Just a placeholder email, excuse me. And then I put in always append +1 to the beginning of the phone number if the caller gives it to you over the phone. Now, this is only if you're in the US. Obviously, you'd have your own country code depending on what country you're based in. Now, I've included a dynamic variable for number 3 here. Always use user number. User number represents the number that the user is calling from. And Retell makes it really easy for us just to have that dynamically inserted in every call. And I say use that to book the appointment when using the phone number the caller is calling from. And then the last thing is just always check current time here before booking appointment or anything. So we want to make sure our agent knows when to book an appointment, and it needs to be grounded in the correct time zone in order to do that. So these are the 4 non-negotiable absolutes I include in probably all my appointment setting agents, and I'm going to show you how that applies to this down here. I've included an exact JSON script that gets sent over whenever the agent is booking an appointment. Basically, you just need to make sure that the agent is formatting the information correctly when it gets sent over to cal.com. Otherwise, it won't book the appointment correctly. And so I've included that right over here. Now, in order to make our agent actually book appointments using the phone number, we're going to have to configure cal.com as well. But let me continue with the prompt. So, appointment booking. Now, this is the bread and butter of every appointment booking agent. It's going to look something like this. This is the exact method I use. So we always have, whenever the agent is going to book someone in for, in this case, a haircut, the agent says, hey, what day and time works best for you? The next thing we do is we use check availability _cal to see if Alex is free at that day and time. The reason we include that here in the prompt is because if it doesn't know that that tool is being called, it might make the agent less accurate. So we want to put, if not available, actually that time is booked. So let me check the closest available time for you, then suggest alternative times. It's really important you put suggest alternative times for the same day using check availability. Otherwise, it may suggest alternative times tomorrow or whatever. We want to suggest the nearest time for the user. Book appointment, use book appointment to reserve the slot. And then the last thing is, can I get your full name and is the number you're calling from the best one to reach you? I use this exact prompt, is the number you're calling from the best one to reach you, because it's the lowest friction. In most cases, obviously, the person who's calling in is probably going to want to book the appointment using the number they're calling from instead of having to read in their number, giving the agent a chance to mess it up in the process. That's what I use. Can I get your full name and is the number you're calling from the best one to reach you? And then it confirms it. Awesome, you've booked with Alex for service on date and time. See you then at Iron and Blade. Now, how does this work? Well, we have to add in the function. The two functions we'll add are just the default ones. If this is your first time ever doing this, Retell makes it really easy because they integrate directly with cal.com. So all you have to do is just add in your API key and your event ID, which I'll show you how to do. And then of course we'd set in the time zone, which we'll configure here. If you've never made an account with cal.com, you got to go over here, make an account, takes a few seconds, it's free. And you're going to create an event. You may already have an event scheduled default. And so what you do is you go over to your event and you just want to make sure that you configure your hours availability to be whatever hours you're also listing here in Retell. Okay. So make sure that they line up. And then what you will do in order for it to actually book appointments using our phone number and not the email, we're going to have to change a few things. So we want to go over to advanced and we want to go over to see where I've included this extra here. I've actually included a new field. And the way you do this is you go add question like this, and you'd put in phone and you put an identifier. So this is the way that it's identified in Retell. Put in a label and then a placeholder phone, just like that. Okay. And then we put in required yes, and then hit add. And that way, this is what yours should look like. You have phone identifier, and that way we can actually collect the user's phone number and it can book the appointment using the phone number. You want to make sure that's set. It's annoying, but cal.com doesn't allow us to actually book an appointment without using email. We have to collect some email, and that's why we include the placeholder. So email is just required by default. In order to get your API key, you want to go over here, over to settings. Let's go to API keys under developer, and you'll create a new one. Let's just name it whatever you want. Save, copy it, don't share it with anyone, and then we'll bring it back and put it here. Now, the event type ID, this is just going to be found in the URL of the event. So for this 30-minute meeting that we're doing, it can be any event. You want to go right up here, see where this is, and just copy only this information, just like so. And we'll paste that in. And that's the way that we can identify the event with cal.com. And then the time zone. So you want to make sure this is obviously, you can book in any time zone, but you want to make sure that this time zone aligns with the time zone that you're using to check the current date in Retell, and then also the time zone over here. Let me check. Under time zone, you want to go down to here, under availability, and make sure you're set for time zone that matches this time zone over here. Okay, so we hit save, and your first function is done. The next one you want to add is this right here, which is the book on calendar. And we'll take the same API key as before and put that in. Okay. And what I'll do, take that API key, put it there, change the time zone again. And that's pretty much all it. So leave it as default and hit save. And now you've configured your first two functions. So both of these should work, and we can go ahead and test it. So if I go over here, before we even go any further, I'll go to test chat, and you can go manual chat like this, and let's just type it in. So, hello, I want to book an appointment for tomorrow at noon. And I'll go over to my calendar and see there should be availability tomorrow at 12 p.m. just like so. And we can check. And then we can see that check availability has been called, right? It's working. can I get your full name, and is the number you're calling from the best one to reach you? Now, yes, I'll say my name is Tech Tomlet, and the number is hit send. And now it's going to take a second, and you're all set. And so it just booked the appointment. If we go over here, we see an appointment is newly booked, and with the phone number at the bottom there in the field. So that's beautiful. And now, so you understand, this is just the bread and butter. You can build 95% of appointment setting agents with this. You really don't have to add in the other features I'm talking about unless you absolutely are required to by the client. It's very important to know, don't get me wrong, to understand the basics of cancellation and rescheduling. But you need to make sure that your check availability and your book appointment is working. And with this prompt, I have found that it works with 98% reliability. In the past, I've had issues with the agent not performing well. All of that has always come back to a lack of prompting skills for me. So I guarantee you, if you go through here and use the exact prompt I've used, your agent will perform the way it's performing on the screen for me. Common problem I see with these agents is sometimes you'll say book for tomorrow at 2 p.m. and it won't book for tomorrow at 2 p.m. Instead it'll book at like 10 a.m. or a random time. The most common reason for that is because the time that is being sent over, you can troubleshoot it just by going over here and going, let's see what's actually being sent over to cal.com. Well, under time, this should be an ISO format. Instead, it's in tomorrow at 3 p.m. What does that mean? So it doesn't know. It needs an exact time and date there. And so instead, what you can do to fix that is a simple prompt I use. So it basically says, if caller says something tomorrow at X time, make sure to calculate what date and time tomorrow actually is, and then send it over. And that way, when it sends over the information, it will send it over as the correct formatted time. It will look something like this: time June 16th at 9 a.m. instead of just tomorrow. And that'll fix your problem. The next step for us is we need to add in rescheduling, right? So we're looking for two things, if you can't tell. The first is, when would the person like to reschedule the appointment for? And then we need to verify their phone number, because there's no way for us to actually authenticate that the appointment we're trying to manipulate unless we have the person's phone number to identify it. So what we start by asking is, ask for the current appointment time. So what day and time was your current appointment, if they say they want to reschedule? And then the agent says, what day and time would you like to move it to? And now this is where we have to invoke the function we've already put in, check availability, to verify that it's available. So if that time that they want to move it to is available, then we can proceed to the next step. If not, we need to keep looping back until we find an available time. Okay, this is the logic. Book new slot. Now, if it is available, say, is the number you are calling from the one you booked the appointment under? Very important step. And only after the caller provides their phone number must you use appointment reschedule to update. If you don't include this prompt, only after the caller provides their phone number must you use, then it will sometimes actually go ahead and try to do the appointment reschedule without ensuring that it's collected the person's phone number. And you don't want that, then it's going to lead to errors. So make sure this prompt's exactly as so. And then the agent says, all set, your appointment's been moved to new time. See you then. So 2 pieces of information means that we need to send that over to make.com. This is a little bit more, you could say, involved, but it's still just as simple from what I can tell. What you want to do is create a custom function, and let's go, okay, this function is used to reschedule the appointment. Okay, that's all we need. Here's where we'll put in our make.com URL, and then this is where we're going to define the information we're taking over. So we want to go like this, switch to form, and we're going to choose 2 fields. So we want requested time slot, and again, this is the time that the user is wanting to move the appointment to. So we're not going to be sending over when their current appointment was. That's unnecessary information. So instead we say, this is the time, date the user, say the caller, to move their appointment to. And then it's very important we put in ensure date is in ISO, just like this, 8601 format. That way it will be read by our make.com scenario correctly. Okay, And then the next one, just make sure this is string, is phone. So we just need to identify it, right? Put in phone. This is the user's caller's phone number. Okay. And then we can hit save. A common problem I see that people have, I just want to mention, is sometimes the agent will book the appointment and say, hey, John has successfully booked your appointment. And then the function will run, and then the agent will say again, John has successfully booked your appointment. And the reason it's repeating itself is because you have this set. If you don't want it to repeat itself, then you want to unselect this. So this will make the function run silently, and it will only announce that it's booked the appointment when the LLM in the prompt has just said along its lines, hey, I've booked your appointment. So that's something you can modulate there, just for your information. Save. Oh, empty URL, my bad. Let's go over to make. And you're going to use this scenario. Now, this scenario is included in my community. I want to walk through how this scenario works just so you understand it. But the only things you'll have to configure are two things. It's just your API key. So if you get access to this, so when you join. So all you do is put in your API key here. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, actually. And put it like that. Okay. And hit save. And then we'll put in our API key over here as well. Just make sure there's no extra space. Bear, hit save. Now, let me explain how this works, because if you don't understand how this works, you're just going to be left behind. The way this works is we have a webhook that captures the information over from Retell, and then we have an HTTP request, which all it does is it just searches for all the upcoming meetings in our cal.com account. Okay? It will literally return everything that's in the future. But we need to filter out only the meeting that's associated with the caller's phone number, right? And the way we do that is a simple little function I made here, which basically just maps the variables. It takes all the data and maps it to the caller's phone number. So at the end, all you're left with is just the meeting that was booked by that caller's phone number. And if it exists, which I have a filter for, if that data exists, so the caller's meeting, then we'll go over here and we'll execute the function to reschedule the meeting, which looks something like this. If you're interested in more of the details, you can comb through this yourself, but basically we just say, okay, all we need to send over to cal.com is this information here, just the time slot of the new appointment. And once we send that over, then it knows, okay, let's move that previous meeting over to the new time slot, and that's all we're sending over here. So it's literally the entire scenario, and then we send back a webhook response which says meeting was successfully rescheduled, and then at that point our agent in Retell will go, okay, the meeting was successfully rescheduled, just like so. So the way we filter out for errors or when the meeting doesn't exist is we put in a condition here that just says, okay, if we don't return any variable here, then it does not exist. That means it was unsuccessful, and we send that back. No meeting exists associated with this phone number. Done. So that's the entire scenario as a whole. If this is your first time ever connecting a function over to Retell, the way you do this is just go like this, copy address to clipboard, go over to Retell, put this in like so. So let's test it, see if it works. I'm going to hit run once over here. It's running. And I want to go, let's reschedule an appointment. So this is how you test it. I want to reschedule my appointment for tomorrow at noon. Let me grab that phone number I used real quick. I'll take that information from over here. Okay, what day and time would you like to move it to? July 30th at noon. Okay, so we'll just move it a day ahead. All right, and it confirms that he's available. Is the number you're calling from? Here is the number. And I'll remove the plus one. So it's just like that, and it should add the +1 based off our prompt. And there we go, to a result. The meeting was successfully rescheduled. So it should have worked right there. And if we check, there we go. It was moved a day forward based off our scenario, just like so. So that's all you have to do. Now, let me run you through the next scenario. And now, it's a little bit different if someone wants to cancel an appointment, but it is simpler, I would say. So for this, what you have to do, let me edit this prompt a little bit so it's correct. For cancellation, all the agent has to get is the person's phone number like before, and then a little quick reason for the appointment cancellation. Now, for some reason, cal.com has it set up where it needs a cancellation reason to cancel the appointment. All I have to do here is just go like this. Move this over here. Can I get a quick reason for the cancellation? And the phone number you are calling from, the one you booked the appointment under. Okay, and then that's it. So we'll hit save right there. And all we have to do is, just like before, add a custom function. Only this time it's going to look a little bit different, but it's pretty much the same. So for cancellation, we're going to add in our API keys just like before in these two places. So now once your API keys are added, all you need to do is just connect it like before, copy the address to your clipboard, and put it in. I'll say for this description, this is used to cancel the appointment. And then in our form, obviously we just need to send over the phone like before. This is the caller's phone number. And then for field 2, we want cancellation reason, just like so. You want to make sure that that is sent over correctly. This is the reason appointment is canceled. Okay, just make sure that format is lined up with this format in your make.com scenario for whichever reason you. So let me go here, show you what that looks like. Cancellation reason. Actually, I need to fix that. So it looks like this. Cancellation reason without an underscore. Just like so. Cancellation reason. I don't know why I made it that way. It's just the way it is. Hit save. Now, in order to get this to work, you just got to make sure you test it. So let's go ahead and hit run once right here. Wait for new data. And let's just say cancel my appointment. Can I get a, I am deathly ill, and here's the phone number it's made under. Now you can see if we go over here, it should cancel this appointment on Wednesday, and there it is, it's gone. So look at that. No problem, your appointment's been canceled. Hope you feel better soon. And we can go back to our little scenario and see that it ran perfectly. In order to harden your prompt and really get it working well, the last thing that you need to include, and I think this is absolutely essential, is multi-shot examples. I always include this in all my prompts. I think it's especially important for appointment setting. For all the scenarios, including the booking, the checking availability, the rescheduling, and the cancellation, I always have a flow of how it should go. Both how the agent should respond and how the caller might request something. So it would say, like, example 1, hey, can I get a skin fade on Saturday? And then the agent says, Alex is only available, da-da-da. What about when the client wants to book something? Can you book me for a cut and beer tomorrow at 10 a.m.? Let me check when Alex is open. And it uses check availability to check. Cool, you're open. Is this the best number to reach you at? Yes. So we give it a full flow. This is called multi-shot prompting. It is by far the most effective way to prompt your agent, especially giving it these examples. Are you guys open on Christmas Day? We're closed. And so I go through all the different examples. And I think that is probably one of the most important things. The next thing I'll mention is you want to make sure you're using 4.1. I think if you have these additional functionalities, I've found the appointment cancellation, the rescheduling performs a lot better and more reliable when you're using 4.1 over 4.1 mini, even though 4.1 mini is fantastic for most use cases, and you could probably get away with it realistically. I've just found 4.1 mini, and if you're doing a production agent, make sure you're using the fast tier as always. Now, if you want to manage time zones, as I talked about earlier, when do you know when to book in the caller's time zone versus when to book in the business's time zone? And so the main difference between that is just this. Obviously, you can book in the caller's time zone, but you'd probably only do that if the agent is not based anywhere and it's just making outbound calls for a coaching or consulting company, and you're trying to schedule an appointment as quickly as possible. In that case, if the person goes, hey, yeah, I'm free tomorrow at 7 p.m., the agent needs to know that they're booking in the caller's time zone. Now, if the roles are reversed and the person is calling a local business such as an HVAC repair, a dental clinic, maybe a counseling office, obviously the agent's going to be booking in the local time zone, and that's expected by the caller. But you need to know how to juggle both in different scenarios. So what I use here is this prompt. If we are booking in the caller's time zone, we want to make sure that we book it the most frictionless way possible. And the way I've done that is just by doing this. So I use this little prompt here I've come up with, which will actually detect the person's time zone based off their area code. So I say, first of all, always ask the caller what time zone they are in, and then book using their time zone. So all you have to do is go change this, get rid of time zone here. So you literally delete it, update, and then we do the same thing for here. And now we're going to do this. So always use the user number to figure out the user's area code in the US and then infer their time zone based off that. So when asking for their time zone, say basically, hey, I see you are in this area code. Is your time zone the Virginia Beach area, right? Then it will make sense. Now if they're traveling out of state at the moment, they can politely decline. But if they're not, it works really well, and I can show you that works right now. So if I connect this to a phone number, let's just put it in as an inbound phone number. We'll call it, and then I'll go over here. And let's say let's book.
Iron and Blade Barbershop. This is Chloe. How can I help you?
Hey, I want to book an appointment.
Absolutely, I can help with that. Before we get started, I see you're calling from the 757 area code, which is usually Eastern Time. Is your time zone Eastern Time ET? And what day and time works best for you?
And so you can see it works perfectly using my time zone. And that's just a way to reduce the friction that's normally associated with booking appointments. If you want to poach that for yourself, feel free. I've used that in the past, and it's really powerful. So that's really important. Now, if you want to learn how to book appointments when your client has multiple calendars, that's all included in my community below, along with so much more in appointment setting agents. I highly recommend you do check out the Pioneer Path. I have an entire module just on mastering the perfect formula for appointment setting agents. So hopefully you get a greater understanding on how to actually build a robust appointment setting agent using real life functions and the best prompt I think I've ever found in building these systems.
Tectonic, where AI finds its voice. Come for the tech, stay for the transformation.